How much are you generating top line right now? How cool would it be to do that bottom line in 2 to 3 years or less? Could maybe do it in 1 year. I feel like I was just here. Good to see you all again. So, does anybody here not know who this guy is? There was a time when nobody knew who this guy was, and I couldn't. You sort of liked it that way for a while, and now he's way more famous than I am. So, Roland and I'll tell you a quick story. Roland and I met because you were at the very first ever Traffic and Conversion
I was,
Summit.
yes.
So, we're business partners right now because Roland came to TNC. And so when we talk about the connections that are made here, this is an example, of that. And at the first TNC, that was when we first presented the Mastermind. You, I would say, irresponsibly,
yes,
chose not to join.
Yeah, it's really funny because there were these guys walking around because you had launched it actually before. I think they had the things on, unless I'm mixing 1 and 2. But I asked a couple of the people that were joining, and I was like, so what is this Mastermind thing? And what do you think of it? Because I wasn't really from the world of digital marketing originally. I was from other kinds of marketing. And the people were like...
By the way, when you say it like that, it sounds super sketchy.
Oh.
When you say, did anybody else think like, oh, he was like in some like gross, like porny kind of stuff? You're like, so...
Oh, no.
He was like an attorney, which is also kind of gross in its own way.
And no, I had done a lot of stuff with television and radio, infomercials. And
I knew that with the way you said it.
No, I was like, I share it with you. Yeah. But... yeah, so I asked him, I was like, what's this Mastermind thing? This is amazing. You've got to, you got to do it, and it's going to be great. And they're going to get together a couple times a year. And I didn't really get the value of it because I was busy. Yeah. And so I just said, it just sounds, cool. And then I was mad at myself for the entire rest of the year because I subscribed to. Ryan had, I forget what it was, the very first thing you had, and occasionally you'd have little snippets of code and stuff, and like, and they'd be talking about things that the Mastermind did, and I was like, I can't believe I didn't do that. And so I went back to the second Traffic and Conversion Summit, and I walked up to the front where it was just a little table back then, and I said, I want to join the Mastermind. I've been thinking about it all year. I want to join it. And they said, well, you can't. And I was like, oh, God, you mean it's full? And it's like, I knew this was going to happen. It's going to, and they're like, oh, no, we don't have the forms printed yet. I was like, oh. Didn't really have our crap together back then. So it was cool. And then we met, so he did join. We printed the forms, so he was allowed to join. And this guy just showed up. Nobody knew who he was. He showed up at every single meeting. He never really asked for anything, but he took notes for the group. And he's like, hey, here's the notes I took, and he'd share them. And then at the end of all of our masterminds, we have a contest where it's like, okay, it's time for everybody to share the coolest, best, most amazing thing that they've learned since the last meeting. And it's a contest, and the members vote. This guy, I think, still to this day has the record for the most victories of that. And eventually we're like, who are you? What do you do? We got into a little bit of a cash pinch. Those of you who were here for the session talked about the importance of understanding where your cash is going. We didn't know that then, got a bit of a cash pinch, and went to this guy because he had money. We're like, hey, and he's like, well, if you want a business partner, I can help with some of the cash stuff. And so met it, got connected at TNC, became, friends and peers through the Mastermind, and then ultimately, business partners. And so that's how we got to know, one another. But this person's he's kind of good at everything he does, so he's annoying. Really just, SEO, like everything, you name it, he's done it, but really has become a master of the art of acquisition, right? A master of the art of acquisition and entrepreneurial investing. And exits. And exits, of course. I'm sorry. You want to do both. Like,
yeah.
It's nice to buy things, but it's also nice to sell.
Yeah, you want to, money's man on the sell.
But let me just say, so to me, the takeaway is, like, you guys are here, and I know you're going to get a lot from all of the different people that are here in this room and that are presenting content-wise, and that's the first level of getting a lot out of the event. But the second one is going beyond the sessions and connecting with people so that you can talk to the people that are next to you. I mean, almost all of the big relationships that I have, I want to say all, but I never say all, came from coming to events like this and being connected to people in masterminds where people are in a mindset of learning and being open and meeting other people, as opposed to you reach out to them and they're doing whatever they do for a living and they're busy. And you're an interruptive force instead of coming into where they've actually opened up. So be sure that you connect with the people that are around you. And then the third level, which is the one that most people never go to, is how can you serve people here while you're here? The people that are in the audience, the people that are on the stage, the people that are running the event, all of those people are fantastic connections with big networks. And so rather than just thinking about it from what can I get out of this and did I ROI because I was able to learn one thing that'll do something, which you for sure can do here, think about how can I give to somebody else? Because to me, that's where all the giant connections come from that will really multiply your wealth and your income.
Yep. So with that said, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the 5 exits of the entrepreneur because I think it's important. All entrepreneurs should be thinking about their business with an exit in mind, even if you don't want to exit. It's just going to cause you to run a better company. And we've talked about that, about how, you want to do these things even if you don't plan to exit. But Roland, what do you mean when we talk about exit? Because really there's 5 different types of exit. What do you mean? He's like breaking all this down and explaining it. And it was just an amazing breakthrough for me in giving freedom to understand that there's not just one end game. There are multiple. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Framework for achieving your ideal exit. So by the time we're done with the session, you're going to say, that's my ideal exit. So in terms of the problem, I think most of us in business, we kind of feel like that tired hamster, right? Starting over every month at 0, right? You're that hamster on a wheel, go, 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 go. There's also a challenge. In Texas, we say that person's all hat, no cattle, right? Y'all heard that expression? That's when they're talking a good game, acting like they're a big deal, but it isn't there. I see this in entrepreneurs when they have lots of sales and no profit. I can't tell you how many famous entrepreneurs, names you would recognize, who are one bad month away from not being able to make their car payment, right? They are the toothless chihuahua. All bark, no bite, okay? There are lots of entrepreneurs with really big top lines, no bottom lines. And they gotta play a game. They gotta play a game, but then the cash ain't there, okay? So some of you feel like the hamster on the wheel. Some of you might feel like you're a little all hat, no cattle, toothless chihuahua. And I think a lot of us, and this is Roland's expression, we're the dancing bear. We're the dancing bear. Who here knows what the dancing bear is when we talk about the dancing bear?
It's particularly insidious for people who are into marketing because most of us have to do things to make the ship go, and as entrepreneurs too. So the thing is, it came from a conversation that Dean Graciosi and Tony Robbins were having, and it was right around when Dean was getting out of real estate and going into more motivational, and Tony was about to do Money Master the Game. And Dean was like, I'm gonna leave this because I was talking with Tony, and Tony says, the problem with what we do is we're dancing bears. We have a lot of money coming in, but we haven't built really any significant wealth asset. And as long as we're dancing on stage and I'm doing these shows and all that stuff, people throw money. As long as we're doing our marketing services or running whatever company we're running, the money continues to come in. But when we stop, then the money stops. And so what Tony said was, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this book called Money Master the Game, and I've partnered with some people to put a fund together, and I figured that if I can get, I think it was said if I could get $1 billion under management, that I'll be totally set and I will no longer be a dancing bear. And he released Money Master the Game, and he sold, I just found this out talking to him a couple days ago, he sold the fund interest a couple years ago with $10 billion under management. And that to me is the game that we want to help you guys change, because if you stop working and the money stops coming in, that's just a really scary place to be.
Yeah, and so we don't want any of you to be the dancing bear. If you love it, but I love going on stage, I love doing this, fine, do it. Do it because you love it, not because you have to. Yeah, that's the difference. So the goal, our goal for you is the same goal that we have for all of our Founders Board members, our Mastermind members. We want you to transform your current top line revenue into your future bottom line profit. If you're looking for a goal and a number, I think that's a good one to start with. How much are you generating top line right now? How cool would it be to do that bottom line in 2 to 3 years or less? Could maybe do it in 1 year. I want you to hit your number, whatever that is. Achieve your ideal exit. So we use this phrase, achieve your ideal exit, live the level 7 life.
And you'll see what we mean by ideal exit. Because those different exits, it's not just sell your company. There's a lot of different exits on the path to selling your company, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today.